Today I'm cooking food from the Solomon Islands. I'm starting off with poi and papaya chicken. So poi is kind of, well, at least it's considered a national dish from all the research I could find. Poi is basically taro that is cooked into a paste and then fermented. These in my picture are actually eddoes. Eddoes are very closely related to taro, but they're what I could get hold of reasonably easily from the international food store. So I'm using them. They are very closely related, so they are perfectly good substitute, I think. Taro are a bit more like grainy in the middle and with a slight purple hue. I am just going to boil them for, I think it was close to an hour. It takes quite a while. They are quite firm. Then just peel the skin off and leave them to ferment after I turn them into a paste. Apparently taro, eddo, whatever, they they naturally ferment when you leave them. So normally when I ferment things, I like to ferment things with a bit of salt, so 2% salt. That's usually what I do. These don't need to add anything, and it works. It worked really well. I blend up with a stick blender because I tried doing it with a my mortar and pestle, and it was a terrible idea. It is stuck so badly. So this worked, and yeah, it just saved me a lot of time. I just added in water as I went to get it to the right consistency. I also added a bit of water on the top just to create that anaerobic environment so that it wasn't just all drying out on the top as well. But it's not a route I've actually ever worked with before, so it's definitely nice to try. And this is after fermenting for, I think it was about 24 hours. It wasn't too warm when I did this in the UK, so it didn't progress too fast. Climate makes things, and this is after I think 2 days, and as you can see, it had expanded out of the pot I put in, which is a very good sign. At this point, I shoved it at the back of the fridge where it was very cold, just to stop it fermenting too much, because at this point it had developed a bit of a sour flavour, but not too much. Now onto the papaya chicken. So Solomon Islands grows a heck of a lot of papayas. From some of the few recipes I found mentioned, they use green or unripe papayas a lot. I couldn't make it to the international food store to get hold of one, so I just picked a very large papaya that was very firm. It's not what I'd call ripe, so while it's not a green papaya, it is definitely on the unripe side, which I thought would work perfectly, and because it can withstand a bit more cooking. I just chopped that up. Recipes for kind of like a main dish were actually quite hard to find for the Solomon Islands. I kind of struggled, which is why I picked this papaya chicken. I did see they also do like a generic papaya curry, like pawpaw curry, but I thought this would be a nice one to do to go with the poi, because the poi, once it's fermented, it's pretty much done. So doing that, and obviously with Solomon Islands being an island nation, they are like Vanuatu from my last video. They are kind of limited on things they can grow, which is why, papayas, coconut, cassava, taro, those kind of roots and plants that they have, they're what they use. So yeah, it's nice, kind of like simple cooking, but done in perhaps a way that, again, I don't do. I feel like I say this in every video, which is probably not surprising when I'm doing all these different countries. Unsurprisingly, they cook things in different ways. So yeah, no, I shouldn't really be surprised, but I'm going to keep saying it anyway. But I am just cooking down onion, pretty much it. I'm cooking it in a bunch of butter, I think, then just going to be adding in the chicken papaya, and that's largely it. But it's nice to do something so simple, and the poi itself is unique with it. And also, fun fact, poi is also a very popular food in Hawaii, the American state, so I figured this would also be a nice way to try that, because I ain't going to Hawaii anytime soon, unfortunately. Would be nice. And as far as I understand, poi itself is quite like a developed flavour. It's not to everyone's liking, and to be fair, fermented food in general is not to everyone's liking. Given I'm Russian, Eastern European, fermented food is quite like a normal thing for us, so whilst it's something that I really enjoy, I can see why some people don't. That kind of like sour flavour is definitely not the most like Ew, it's not really a flavour you get much in Western cooking, to be fair. But, yeah. Anyway, into my chicken, papaya, onion, just adding coconut milk, and that's going to be largely it for the, is it a curry? It's not really a curry. What defines a curry? What's the difference between a curry and a stew? Or just cooked? I don't know. I'm going to stop talking. Anyway, that's pretty much it. And here's the poi. As you can see, it's all bubbled up from the fermenting, and then I just thrown it in a pan just to warm it back up, because I don't really know how to warm it back up otherwise. And it feels wrong to shove it in a microwave, so I'm not going to do that. But since it's kind of like mashed potato, I decided to just throw in a bit of butter and melt that through, because, I mean, it's mashed taro, it's just fermented mashed taro, so a bit of butter feels special. And there it is, the papaya chicken and poi. And I really enjoyed this poi. The poi has really like tangy sour flavour, kind of like yogurty type sour. Papaya chicken is really, really good. It's ridiculously simple, but it's really nice. The chicken is very sweet, but I like that. But not too sweet, actually, because, like I say, the papaya used wasn't very ripe, so it was quite neutral but nice. So, no, I highly recommend this. It's very, very easy to make, and the poi is very, very special. For the dessert, I am doing cassava pudding. So, cassava, I've used it before quite a lot by this point. It's another one of the roots that they grow there. I've got a bunch of it that I've grated up that I actually had from previous food. Then I've added in a bunch of coconut. I again rehydrated desiccated coconut because I'm not peeling coconuts. I don't even know if the shop sells them. They probably do. Added in some brown sugar, and now I'm adding in the coconut milk. Well, I'm adding in the cream from the coconut milk, actually. The, like, solidified stuff, because it wasn't very warm at this point, so it hadn't all melted into the milk. But I am just combining that through to kind of just create this mixture. There's not, like, a huge amount of sugar in this, and the coconut itself, again, it's not the, like, sweetest pudding in the world. And then I'm just putting it in my banana leaves. My banana leaves are looking a bit rough after coming out of the freezer, and they've been in the fridge for a couple of days, because I had these out from doing Vanuatu, actually. Yeah, so they've been out for a couple of days by this point. And the cassava is actually the grated cassava I had from there too, because I figured kill two birds with one stone. You don't want to grate a bunch of cassava twice. But I just wrapped up the puddings in these. I just kind of wrapped them up again. I can't really be bothered to tie it up with string, and I don't have the stringy banana bits anyway to do it with, so I just kind of did this hodgepodge folding thing, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it worked, and I think they were quite neat. You see that one quite neat. My first one wasn't. I'll redo that. Does anyone ever do things right the first time? I don't know. Anyway, but again, this is like a nice, really like basic dish. In essence, it is just kind of grated cassava, a few flavourings wrapped in banana leaf. Traditionally, I think they'll cook this in like an outdoor oven. I am not going to. Although actually, the recipe I'm using boils it, so I guess they boil it in an outdoor oven or something. So that's what I'm doing. Because I am boiling them, I'm just going to stack them up and tie them together so that they don't all like fall to pieces when I put them in the saucepan. So actually I lied about not using string, but I am stingy about using my string. Don't know why. It's very good string. Got it from the butcher and all. But anyway, whatever. But this is like, it definitely feels like kind of island cooking, just using a few like key ingredients and kind of just cooking them in a way that you could easily do outdoors. And that's really cool. But I ended up boiling these for, I think it was around an hour. They are pretty dense, so definitely want to make sure they're not undercooked, because cassava, I don't think you can eat cassava raw. No, you can't. It has toxic compounds when ingested raw. Anyway, after an hour, here they are, nicely boiled, and they were very hot at this point, so my fingers were definitely burning, in case you can't tell by how gingerly I'm handling them. But they were very cool to kind of unwrap, and peeling apart banana leaves is it's just so fun. And there it is, that lovely unwrapped parcel of cassava pudding. It wasn't my favourite thing in the world. The cassava is reasonably neutral, and the coconut has like that lovely little coconutty hint. But it was a bit dense, and I mean, it was nice, but would it be my first choice for a dessert? Given what else I can make? No, but if these were the kind of ingredients I had, then yeah, totally. I actually had loads left over, so I ended up eating it with peanut butter, which was really, really good.